There is a fear that doesn't have a name, not the fear of dying that one you can at least say out loud. This one is quieter, more private. It is the fear of becoming too much, too slow, too needing, too in the way. It is the fear of looking in the mirror one morning and not quite recognizing the person looking back. The fear of watching the roles that gave your life, shape mother, caregiver, the one everyone called first, slowly grow quieter, and not knowing who you are in the silence they leave behind. If you have ever lain awake, calculating how much longer you can manage on your own, that is the fear I am talking about. If you have ever swallowed a need because you didn't want to burden someone, you know this feeling. I want to say something personal here. I have sat with many people in this season of life while writing these scripts, and the thing that moved me most was not the fear of death. It was how many people were afraid of becoming invisible. That is what this script was written for. You were taught that aging was something to fight, to hide, to outrun. Nobody told you it could be something else entirely. Buddhism has been sitting with this truth for 25 centuries, and today, these teachings are for you. Stay until teaching number 5, because what you hear there may finally give you permission to put down something you have been carrying for far too long. Now breathe, and let these words find you. Teaching 1, stop fighting the mirror. The suffering does not begin when the body changes. It begins the moment the mind decides the body shouldn't. Think about the last time you caught your reflection unexpectedly in a shop window, in a photograph someone took without warning. There was a moment before you had time to prepare. And in that moment, something in you flinched, not because what you saw was wrong, but because it was unfamiliar, because it didn't match the image you still carry somewhere inside of what you are supposed to look like. That flinch, that small private recoil, that is where so much unnecessary suffering lives. The Buddha made a distinction that most of us spend our entire lives not understanding. He spoke of 2 arrows. The first arrow is what happens: the body slows, the face changes, the stairs take longer than they used to. That arrow lands. It hurts. There is no denying it. But the second arrow, the one we fire ourselves, is the thought that says, this should not be happening. This is wrong. Something has gone wrong with me. That second arrow is optional, and it is almost always the one that causes the most damage. We were raised in a world that taught us our value lived in our appearance, our speed, our productivity, our usefulness. Without ever saying it directly, we absorbed the message that aging was a kind of failure, that the lines appearing on our faces were evidence of something lost rather than something lived. So we resist. We argue with the mirror. We compare the face we see now to the face we remember from 20 years ago, and we hold the present one in contempt. And that resistance, that daily invisible argument with what is, costs more energy than the aging itself ever could. The Buddha asked his students to contemplate impermanence, not to make life feel grim, but to make it feel honest, to look clearly at what is changing so the mind does not have to keep living in shock, because a mind that has already made peace with change does not panic when change arrives. It says, yes, I knew you were coming. I have been expecting you. What would it feel like to stop fighting? Not to stop caring for yourself, not to stop living fully, but to stop the daily war, to look in the mirror and say, without bitterness, this is what 67 years of living looks like. This is what surviving loss looks like. This is what loving people, working hard, and still showing up looks like. The lines on your face are not damage, they are record. There is something else worth saying here, something that does not get said enough. The version of yourself you are grieving, the younger face, the easier body, the person you were before the years accumulated, that person was also beautiful, and she deserved to be seen clearly, too. Not just now, in memory. Then, most of us spent our younger years not quite believing we were enough either. We were too this, not enough that, waiting to arrive at some future version of ourselves that would finally be acceptable. And now we look back at photographs from 30 years ago and think, I didn't know how good I had it. But here is what that means. It means that the self you are right now, the one you are tempted to dismiss, to flinch away from, to wish were different, this self, too, will one day be looked back on with the same tenderness you now feel for who you were. You are living, right now, in what you will someday call the good years. There is a practice the Buddha encouraged, and it is simpler than you might expect. When you notice the body changing, when the stiffness takes longer to ease in the morning, when the energy comes in shorter waves, pause before the flinch. Just pause and say quietly to yourself, this is happening, and I am still here. The practice is not about making peace with aging as a concept. It is about returning to this particular morning, in this particular body, with this particular face, and finding it enough. Not perfect, not what you planned, but real, and here, and yours. Not forced brightness, not pretending it doesn't ache, just honest accompaniment. Just the small act of not abandoning yourself in the moment your body needs you most. The war with the mirror is the most exhausting war you will ever fight, and the only one you were never meant to win. What you were meant to do is lay down the weapon and rest. Teaching too. Your body has been loyal. Before you ask anything more of your body, I want you to consider something. This body has carried you through everything. Every sleepless night, every grief that sat in your chest for months, every year you got up and showed up for other people when you had nothing left to give. Every time you pushed through the exhaustion because someone needed you. Every illness you recovered from. Every decade you survived. Your body was there for all of it, without complaint, without requiring your attention or your gratitude. It just kept going. And yet, for so many of us, the relationship with our own body has been one of the most troubled relationships of our lives. Think of how you have spoken to it, the contempt when it didn't look the way you wanted, the frustration when it got sick, when it slowed, when it asked for rest you felt you couldn't afford to give, the way you pushed it past exhaustion because you believed that what other people needed from you mattered more than what your body was quietly asking for. If a friend had spoken to you the way you have sometimes spoken to your own body, you would have gently ended that friendship. We inherit these patterns. Many of the women who came before us modeled the same thing. The body is something to be managed, pushed through, apologized for, not something to be in gentle conversation with, not something that might, if you listened closely enough, tell you exactly what you need. When was the last time you asked your body what it needed and actually waited for the answer? Not what the article said, not what you thought you should need, what your body, on this particular day, in this particular season, was quietly asking for. Rest, perhaps, or movement, not punishment, but the kind of motion that feels like relief, warmth, a slower pace, permission to stop before you are fully empty. The body knows things the mind does not. It has been keeping record long before you started paying attention. Most people, especially those who spent their lives caring for others, have never learned to listen to their bodies. They learned to override them, to push through the fatigue, to ignore the hunger, the need for rest, the quiet signals that said enough for today. The body was an instrument for doing, not a home for being. And now, in this season, the body is asking something different from you, not performance, not endurance, attention. The Buddha taught what he called the middle way, and it is often misunderstood. People think it means moderation, a kind of mild, cautious living. But what he actually meant was something much more radical. Stop fighting your own nature. Stop demanding impossible things from the vessel you live in. Stop treating it as either an enemy to be punished or a vanity to be preserved. Learn, instead, to care for it the way you would care for something precious and temporary, because that is exactly what it is. Think of a garden, not a grand formal garden that requires expertise and constant management. Think of a simple garden, tended with quiet regularity. A little water, a little attention, some honest acknowledgement of what the season requires. Nothing heroic, nothing dramatic, just showing up gently, again and again. That garden rewards you with beauty you did nothing special to deserve. You just kept coming back. You just kept caring. This is what the body asks from you now. Not transformation, not punishment for the years of neglect. Just the beginning of a different relationship. One where you listen before you push. One where you rest without guilt. One where a walk in the morning air is not a fitness goal, but a conversation between you and the only body you will ever live in. Not because you want to look younger. Not because aging is something to be defeated. Because you are still here. And being here still matters. Care for this body as you would care for someone you love. Gently, consistently, without requiring it to be anything other than what it is. It has been loyal to you for every year of your life. It deserves your loyalty. Now, teaching 3. Learning to be alone without being lonely. There is a loneliness that descends in this season of life that no one warned you about. It is not the loneliness of having no one. Some of you have family. Some of you have friends, neighbors, the routines of social life still intact. But there is a different kind of quiet that comes, and it comes even in full rooms. It is the quiet that arrives when the children don't need you the way they used to. When the house that was once full of other people's sound becomes your own. When one by one, the people who knew you when you were young, who remembered, the version of you that existed before all the years of giving, are no longer here. That quiet can feel like abandonment, not by any one person, by life itself. I want to sit with you in that feeling for a moment before I say anything else, because it is real, and it does not need to be philosophized away. Grief is grief, and the grief of watching your world grow smaller is something that deserves to be honored, not hurried past. But Buddhism draws a distinction that has the power to change everything once you feel it, not just understand it, but feel it. The distinction is this: being alone and loneliness are not the same thing. Being alone is a circumstance. Loneliness is what happens when you find yourself in a room with someone who doesn't know how to keep you company. And that someone, the one who goes quiet, who panics in the silence, who immediately reaches for noise or distraction or anything to fill the space, is often yourself. The Buddha taught what he called atta dipa, be a lamp unto yourself, be your own refuge. Not because other people don't matter, but because if your peace depends entirely on their presence, their attention, their availability, then peace will always be borrowed. And borrowed peace breaks exactly when you need it most. There is an old story from the Buddhist tradition. A woman came to a teacher in distress. Her husband had passed. Her children lived in other cities. The home she had filled with life for 30 years now echoed with her own footsteps. "The silence," she told him, "is unbearable. I don't know what to do with it." The teacher was quiet for a moment. Then he asked, "When the house was full of sound, could you hear yourself thinking?" She considered. "No," she said. "I was always too busy." "Then the silence has not taken something from you," he said gently. "It has returned something to you that has been waiting a long time. The question is not how to fill it. The question is whether you are willing to meet what lies there." Sit with that for a moment. Learning to be comfortable in your own company is not something that happens all at once. It begins in small acts of intentional stillness. 5 minutes with a proper age, cup of tea before reaching for the phone, a short walk without music in your ears, a meal eaten slowly with full attention in your own quiet company. Not to achieve peace, but to practice tolerating and then, slowly, welcoming the presence of your own self. There is something that happens with practice when you stop fleeing the quiet. You begin to notice things you missed entirely when your life was full of noise. The particular quality of light in the late afternoon, the way a cup of something warm feels held in both hands, small pleasures that were always there, always available but invisible to a mind that was always busy being needed. You begin to hear yourself again, your own opinions forming without needing to be checked against what someone else thinks, your own preferences surfacing after years of being quietly deferred, your own voice not performing for anyone, not managing anyone's feelings, just present and honest and yours. The Buddha spoke of the mind that has learned to rest in itself as a lamp that does not flicker, not because the wind never comes, but because the flame has found its own steadiness. You do not have to earn this steadiness. You do not have to become someone you are not. You only have to practice returning again and again, gently, without judgment, to the one who has been here all along, waiting for you to stop being so busy that you missed her. She has been very patient. The silence is not empty. It is the first space, perhaps in years, that belongs entirely to you. Teaching 4. Let some things go before life takes them. There are 2 ways to arrive at a simpler life. One is chosen, one is forced. Only one of them feels like freedom. We do not talk enough about the weight that accumulates over a lifetime, not just in closets and spare rooms, though that weight is real too, but in the quieter places. The grudge carried for so long you have almost forgotten what it was originally about, only that it sits in you somewhere like a stone in a coat pocket. The relationship maintained out of obligation, out of history, out of the fear of the conversation it would take to honestly address it. The expectation never spoken, but always felt of how this season of life was supposed to look. The way retirement would feel, the way the family would gather, the way you would finally be seen, finally be valued, finally rest in the regard of the people you gave so much to, and the quiet resentment when those expectations meet reality. And then there are the words that were never said. This is perhaps the heaviest weight of all, not objects, not grudges, not failed expectations, but the conversations that never happened. The things you needed to say to someone and didn't. The apologies that waited too long and then the person was gone. The gratitude you assumed they knew. The love you expressed in actions but never once said plainly out loud, because you came from a time and a place where that was not how it was done. And sometimes, perhaps more painfully, the things you needed to hear and never did. The acknowledgement that didn't come, the recognition you worked years toward and never quite received. The simple thank you that should have been given and wasn't. These unfinished conversations accumulate. They become a kind of interior clutter that no amount of drawer sorting or closet clearing will touch. Buddhism speaks of ahimsa, non-harming, and most people understand it as something you extend outward. But there is a version of it that points inward. Stop harming yourself by replaying what cannot be changed. Stop carrying the weight of words left unsaid as though carrying them is the same as the conversation itself. The conversation you did not have is not alive somewhere, waiting for you to retrieve it. It is simply gone. What is still possible always, until it isn't, is the conversation you could still have. The letter you could still write. The phone call. The quiet moment where you say, simply and without drama, I have been thinking of you. I am grateful for you. I love you. Do not let the fear of the conversation you didn't have keep you from the one you still can. The Buddha taught that attachment is not a moral failing. He was not asking us to become cold or indifferent. He was pointing at something deeply practical. Everything you cling to requires energy to hold. In youth, you had energy to spare. In this season, energy is more precious. And the question of where it goes deserves your honest attention. There is a grief in this teaching that often gets skipped over, and I don't want to skip it. Letting go of objects tied to memory is hard, not because of the objects themselves, but because releasing them can feel like releasing the person or the moment they represent. The tea set that belonged to your mother, the tea photographs in boxes you haven't opened in years, the children's things that somehow outlasted the children's childhood. Here is what I want to offer you. The memory does not live in the object. It lives in you. It will not go with the thing. You carry it, all of it, in your body, in your breath, in the way certain music still finds you after all these years. You are allowed to release the object and keep the love. What you let go of with intention becomes spaciousness. What life eventually takes without your permission becomes loss. The difference is only in who chooses. Begin gently. One drawer. One conversation left too long unsaid. One expectation quietly laid down. One relationship honestly examined. You are not emptying your life. You are making room for it to breathe. Teaching 5. You are allowed to need things now. For most of your life, your needs came last. Not because you were weak, not because you didn't matter, because you were taught by the culture, by the women who came before you, by decades of showing up and being needed, that this was what love looked like, that good mothers, good wives, good daughters, good friends put everyone else first, that your own hunger could wait, and so it waited. Year after year, it waited, and now something has shifted. The caretaking has grown quieter. The people who needed you so urgently have moved into their own lives. The house is your own. The days belong, more than they ever have, to you. And instead of feeling like freedom, it feels like a question you don't know how to answer. Who am I if I'm not needed? I want to tell you a story. There was a woman who had cooked dinner for her family every night for 35 years. Weeknights, weekends, holidays, she knew every preference, every allergy, every dish that would make each person at her table feel loved. After her children grew up and her husband passed, she found herself alone in a restaurant for the first time in longer than she could remember. No one to order for, No one to consider. The waiter came. She opened the menu and sat very still. She realized she had no idea what she wanted. Not because she wasn't hungry, but because she had spent so many years asking everyone else, "What would you like? What sounds good to you? Will this work for?" Everyone, that her own preferences had gone completely quiet. She had practiced her own erasure so thoroughly that she had nearly perfected it. She sat with the menu for a long time. The waiter came back, and then, very slowly, she ordered exactly what she wanted. Not the practical choice, not the responsible one. What she actually, genuinely wanted. It was, she said later, one of the most quietly radical things she had ever done. This is what the Buddha called metta, and it is one of his most misunderstood teachings. Metta is usually translated as loving kindness, and people assume it flows outward toward others. But the Buddha was explicit. It begins with yourself, not as an afterthought, as the source. You cannot give what you have never allowed yourself to have. You cannot offer warmth from an empty place. The compassion you have spent a lifetime extending to everyone around you, your children, your parents, your friends, the strangers who needed something you had, that same compassion was always meant to include you. You were always one of the people you were supposed to be caring for. So here is what I want to say directly, without softening it. You are allowed to want things now, not after everyone else is settled, not when you have finished being useful. Now, you are allowed to have preferences that you honor. You are allowed to rest without apologizing for it. You are allowed to spend an afternoon doing something that brings you delight and call it enough, not a reward, not a treat, not something you have to earn. Just enough. You are allowed to say, "I have given, and now I am also allowed to receive." When did you last do something simply because it brought you pleasure? Not because it was productive. Not because someone needed you to. Not because it was responsible or practical or deserved. Just because it made you glad to be alive on that particular afternoon. When did you last follow a small pull of curiosity without immediately dismissing it as frivolous? When did you last say yes to yourself the way you have, 1,000 times, said yes to other people? When did you last treat your own delight as evidence that you are alive rather than something to be apologized for? This is not selfishness. This is the end of a very long exile from yourself. You spent a lifetime learning to love others beautifully. The teaching waiting for you now is simply this. You were always one of them. Teaching 6. Inner worth does not age. The world will stop measuring you the way it once did. Not with cruelty, not with intention. It will simply move on, the way it always does, toward what is newer and louder and more immediately useful. And if you are not prepared for it, this shift can feel like an erasure. You will notice it in small ways at first. The way a conversation moves past you in a room. The way your opinion carries less automatic weight than it used to. The way certain invitations stop arriving. The way your own family, with all their love, sometimes looks through you toward the next thing. I want to honor the sting of this before I say anything else. Because it is real. It is a real loss, and it deserves to be grieved, not dismissed. But here is what the Buddha understood, and what the world never quite tells you. The value the world assigned to you was always on loan. It was always contingent on your productivity, your appearance, your usefulness, your role in a structure that was never built around your deepest worth. When those conditions change, that kind of value changes with them. It was never yours in the way that matters. Watch what happens to a person who has built everything on social worth when that worth begins to fade. You have perhaps seen it. The person who was important in their professional life, who cannot find a way to be in retirement. The mother whose whole identity lived in being needed, who doesn't know what to do with herself now that the children have their own lives. The woman who was the one people turned to for wisdom and warmth, growing quieter and more brittle as the world turns to younger voices. This is not a personal failing. It is the natural result of building a house on borrowed ground. The ground was never theirs to keep. And when it shifts, as it always does, the house has nothing to stand on. The tragedy is not that they aged. The tragedy is that no one ever helped them build something that would last. Inner worth is different. It is not granted by others. It does not expire. It does not weaken with the body or fade with the roles. It is built slowly, quietly, over decades of how you actually lived in the moments when no one was watching, in the kindnesses that were never counted, in the choices you made from the truest part of yourself. Think of the woman who stayed, who held someone's hand in a hospital room through a long night, who listened when listening was what was needed and said nothing at all, who forgave not because it was easy but because she understood, somewhere deep in her bones, that carrying bitterness would cost her more than the person who caused it. That woman is not diminished by aging, she is distilled by it. Who were you before you were useful? Who are you when there is nothing to accomplish, nothing to manage, nothing to prove? What remains when all the roles go quiet? That, whatever that is the truest thing about you, and it has never, not once, required anyone's approval to exist. Let the world reassign its attention. Let the roles shift and the invitations quiet. What you have built inside yourself, slowly, over a lifetime of honest living that is not subject to the world's calendar. The attention will come and go. The worth was always yours. Teaching 7. This is not the end of your story. Let me ask you something. When you think about the years ahead, not abstractly but honestly, in the second, quiet moments before sleep, what do you feel? For many people, that question is shadowed by something that looks like fear but is really a different thing. It is the fear of being unfinished, the fear that there was something they were supposed to do or be or say, and the window is narrowing. The fear, underneath all the others, that they will not be remembered with love. That is not a fear of dying. That is a longing for meaning, and it deserves a completely different answer. The Buddha taught impermanence not as a warning but as a liberation. When you truly absorb not just intellectually, but felt in the body that this day is genuinely finite, that this particular afternoon will never come again, something happens to the ordinary. It stops being background. The cup of tea with someone you love is no longer something that happens between important things. It is the important thing. The phone call you keep meaning to make becomes something you make today. The words you have been holding back, the gratitude, the apology, the simple I love you that you have been assuming can wait lose their reason for waiting. Impermanence, lived honestly, does not make life feel small. It makes it feel vivid. And then there is the question of legacy. The word itself can feel heavy, like something that belongs to famous people and large accomplishments. But the Buddha was not talking about legacy in that sense. He was talking about something much more intimate. What other people carry in their bodies when they think of you, not what you owned or achieved or built. The specific warmth of how you made them feel when you were truly present with them. The way you listened without already forming your response. The time you showed up without being asked. because you sensed someone needed you. The particular way you laughed, the meals you made, the garden you kept, the 1,000 small acts of care that were never recorded anywhere, but live permanently in the people who received them. I want you to think of one person whose kindness you still carry. Not a famous person, not someone from history, someone ordinary, perhaps a teacher who believed in you before you believed in yourself. A neighbor who showed up with food when your world was falling apart, and didn't stay long or say much, just left the food and squeezed your hand. A grandmother who knew how to be present in a room in a way that made everyone in it feel more settled. You remember the feeling of being in their presence. Not what they said, not what they achieved, the feeling. That is what you leave behind. Not the resume, the feeling. And here is what I want you to understand. With complete clarity, you have already left that feeling in people. You have already been that person for someone, possibly for many people who never told you, who assumed you knew, who carry you with them still, without realizing that the word for what they are carrying is you. That kind of legacy is being built right now in how you show up in the days you have, not in grand gestures, in ordinary presence. This is not the closing chapter of your story. This is the chapter where everything that was essential gets distilled, where the unnecessary falls away, where what remains is the truest version of who you have always been moving toward. It is not too late, not even close to love, in ways that linger. You will not be remembered for how productive you were. You will be remembered for how you loved. And you are still loving. Right now, in this very moment. That matters. It will always have mattered. Today we walk together through 7 teachings that have been waiting for you. Not as warnings, not as a list of things to fix before time runs out. As invitations. You walked through the fear of the mirror and found that the war with your own reflection was one you were never meant to fight. You sat with the body that has carried you faithfully through every hard year and heard the quiet invitation to finally care for it with gratitude. You stood in the silence and discovered it is not as empty as it felt. You considered what it might mean to let some things go, not to empty your life, but to let it breathe. You gave yourself, perhaps for the first time in a very long time, permission to want, to need, to be as worthy of your own care as everyone you have ever loved. You remembered that what the world measures and what you are worth are not the same thing, and they never were. And you understood that this story is not over, that the love you are still capable of giving is still leaving its mark. There is only one thing left. Choose yourself, not tomorrow, not when the circumstances are quieter. Now, with one small act today that says, I have not disappeared, I am still here. And I matter too. Tell me in the comments, what is one thing you are finally ready to give yourself permission to do or want or release? Your words may be exactly what someone sitting alone tonight needs to read. And if these words found you today, stay with us. Subscribe. There are more conversations like this one waiting for you. Thank you for trusting this time to us. Thank you for staying. You are not too late. You are not too much. You are not invisible. You are exactly where you are supposed to be, and the best of who you are is not behind you. It is still becoming.